We're going to go through what happens after you sign the contract. And these just a little synopsis of some of the things we're going to touch on. I have 8 years of operations experience in the solar industry and have literally wore every single one of these hats on that bullet pointed list there. So first, let's just, I'll get on the same page with how solar works. I know most of you have done at least a little research on solar that has brought you here. And this, there's many versions of this animation that communicate the similar concepts. So let's just play that. So I'll just talk over it. Basically, the sun's rays hits the solar arrays on your roof and creates the DC electricity. That DC electricity goes down to what we call an inverter. Some people will call it a transformer or a converter. It'll answer to any of those names. It flips the DC to AC. That AC energy flows down through your main breaker and through your electric panel, sends that energy into your home, and your home uses the solar power. Anything above and beyond that goes through your meter and back feeds to the grid. There's then a credit system that is different from utility to utility, where you then can get that credit back when you pull that energy from the grid after the sun is down. So we're going to talk about the 5 steps of going solar, except we're going to skip to number 3. Number 3 is when you've signed a contract. Number 1 and 2, we have a lot of information on our YouTube channel. Those are basically you giving information to our solar support operators when you call in, and then someone like myself or a different project developer then giving you a design and a proposal. So let's jump into number 3, guidance and being assigned a project manager. So the first thing that happens when you sign is one of these four fine folks will reach out to you and say, "I'm your project manager." Then they'll be the single point of contact through the entire process. So they'll send the plans to you for your approval. They will tell you when your start date is. They'll tell you when we have permission to operate with the utility. So they're really your central point of contact. And I've worked very closely with these 4 folks, really good at their job. I've worked at 3 other solar companies besides Straight Up, and I'll say that this is the best project management team I've ever worked with. And really, our whole operations department is a really well-oiled machine. And I was really proud to be a part of it when I was. So just back to what Eric talked a little bit about, that certification. All of our project managers that you will be communicate with have that NABCEP certification, and 50% of our company has it. And I think that's a good question to ask other companies. We know you're going to get more than one bid than ours. Ask that question. What percentage of your company is NABCEP certified? It's the industry standard, and it's important to have. So we have a project management app that you can use. You don't have to. It keeps you posted on all the different steps through the process. And then even after the installation is completely is over and you're interconnected to the grid, you can still check your monitoring portal from this app. So it's a really nice resource that we offer. So we're going to follow a project through those last 3 steps that we're talking about. So this is a project that we actually installed on in West County in St. Louis, and we're just going to follow it through the process. So the in your proposal, your project developer will show you something that looks exactly like this. That shows where the solar panels are actually on the roof. We draw those little green circles on there, not just because they look cool, but that actually models the shade and represents the impact that the shade from trees or from your neighbor's tall house or whatever, how that impacts the production. Because there's a direct link to the amount of shade and the amount of production. So that's Jack. Jack will be the first guy that actually comes out. He's going to get up on the roof. He's going to measure the roof, check the condition of the shingles, check the pitch or the steepness, see if there's any obstructions that he can see on the roof, but we couldn't see from the satellite view. And that's important because this is all leading towards a plan set that our installers are going to use when they actually show up to install your array. Another aspect of that on-site survey, we will look in your attic to confirm the structural members, get the spans and the thickness of the lumber and all that good stuff, the type of plywood under the shingles. We give that all to a structural engineer. He does a structural review and gives us the thumbs up that your roof is ready for solar. Electrical assessment, take the cover off your panel, get the specs from the inside of the panel along with your electric meter outside. That's all data that we'll put into the plan set that we then give to the building department. So everything has to be exact because when the inspectors show up, they want things to be accurate. We'll also take a look at your internet connection and just make sure you have room for us to plug in. All of the solar equipment is of course connected to the internet to monitor the production. And so that wraps up the electrical portion. And then finally, we will do an on-site shade analysis. So this is to double check the modeling of those little green cartoon trees that we saw on the proposal and make sure that the shade was modeled appropriately because the production, like I said, is directly tied to the amount of shade. So we take this, it's sort of like a fisheye lens and shows us the impact through the year that trees and tall chimneys or whatever else could have the effect on your array. So we fast forwarded a little bit through the design process, which is our engineering department actually does a lot of work, but this is just the final product. So this is the main thing that our project manager is gonna send to you to get your approval. So we want you to know where the arrays are going on the roof, and we want you to be okay with where the arrays are going on your roof. So we don't want any surprises when the crew shows up. So once you have the approval on this roof layout, then we take the other aspects of the plan set, which is this roof detail and the electrical detail. I won't get too much into those. But we give all these to the building department. They check the plans to make sure that the plans are code compliant. And then when the building inspector shows up after the install, they check these plans to what we actually installed and make sure that our installation is also code compliant before they sign off the permit. So like Eric talked about in the introduction, we are a turnkey solar company. So that means we take care of everything. You don't have to do anything with the inspections or the building department, or if you have a homeowners association that needs some sort of extra approval, or you live in a historic district, we take care of all that. We also take care of the interconnection agreements with the utilities. So each utility has its own set of requirements. We take care of that permit and that all that paperwork. And then we also can coordinate the interconnection after the solar has been installed, so they can come out and do an inspection before they give you permission to operate the solar system. So brings us to our fourth step. We're building some solar. The crews load up at our warehouse. We actually have 3 locations. One's in West County in St. Louis. We have an office in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois, and one in Carbondale, Illinois. And you get loaded up and they head out to your site. The first thing that they'll do when they arrive is go over this pre-installation walkthrough checklist. So it's just it's all the things that we need to discuss with you as the homeowner and the property owner, so that we're both on the same page. So did you approve the roof layout? You understand the solar arrays are going here and they're going there. We walk through all the steps of the installation, get your availability, and just make sure that we're on the same page, and to establish a good line of communication from the very beginning. So here's our crews doing their thing. First day, we typically set the attachments and put the rail down. Second day might be wiring and conduit work. And then the last day is the most satisfying one, where those modules actually get laid down and the array starts taking shape. So you can see here, we're following OSHA's safety requirements. All of our installers have their OSHA 10 certification or more, and we're very safety conscious. You can see everyone is tied in and conducting themselves in a safe manner. So typically a crew size is 2 to 3 people on the roof and 2 electricians. 1 to 2 electricians. So your crew could range in size from 3 to 5 installers. Go to that next. There we go. So this is actually what the job that we've been following through the process looks like built. So there's the 3 arrays. And if you remember back from the original proposal that the customer saw during the sales process, looks a little different. Actually, it looks a lot better because our design department is conscious of aesthetics. So, they design the best looking array for the shape of your roof. So Straight Up Solar has a 10-year workmanship guarantee, cover anything related to the install. We have a 10-year production guarantee, which guarantees that the system will produce at least 85% of what we said it would in the proposal. That's important because we want these systems to do what we said they would do. So if it doesn't do that, we pay you the difference. But we've literally never had that happen because our design department and our sales department is very on top of things and design systems to do exactly what we say they would do. The final step in the installation process is another checklist. We'll walk you through the different components of the system, make sure you understand how to operate the disconnect switch, answer any questions that you may have. You also get an owner's guide that has answers to questions that we've been getting from people since 2006 when we opened our doors. So it's very comprehensive with what it has inside. We'll also get you connected to your monitoring system, which for this site has microinverters. So we install Enphase for our microinverter solution. People like this because you can get module by module visibility, which has some really good benefits. And our next slide has a short animation to just show you the desktop version, how you can see what's being produced, what's being exported, what's being consumed and sent back to the grid. There's also graphs for you numbers people. You can toggle these different things on and on, off and on to get visibility into your usage, your production. Some people have used this feature to identify that they were using an old appliance that really, used a lot more energy than they thought. And you can look at those numbers day, week, month, year. You have different visibility. And then here's a shot of that module by module visibility. So you can literally see what each module is doing at any given time. And you can also get a visibility day, month, and year on that as well. Oops, one more. There we go. So there's the owner's guide that I spoke about. I think it's about 40 pages long. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's very comprehensive. Customers find it very helpful. You can always call your project manager down the road after install, and they're happy to field questions that you may have. We're getting towards the end. This is where we call the utility and we say, hey, we want your permission to interconnect this system to your grid. They give us permission to operate. They stamp of approval. And then that's where the most satisfying part of the whole solar journey is the really cheap electrical bills. This is actually our sales manager's bill. He claims that when he gets his Ameren bill, it's the first thing he opens. He can't wait to open it to see how cheap his electric bill is. And that's quite a bit different than what I do when I get my bill currently. Like, I'm afraid of how much it's going to be in the summer when we're running our air conditioning all the time. Here's all of our happy customers. We call this the solar smile, or we do this with our hands. Arms. I guess it's supposed to represent we're collecting the sun, kind of like the array is. We have really happy customers and a 42% referral rate. So word of mouth for us is really big, and we give those people that referred customers, friends, family, acquaintances to us, and they actually go to install. We send you a $500 referral thank you check. So I think part of the reason why we have happy customers is our workforce people seem to enjoy working here. As I do, and I know Eric does. And one thing I like about this company is we give all 130 people a little, their picture, obviously, you can see there, and a little bio, their interests, their experience. And I think that's great. I don't think everyone does that. And I think that, a little bit of the ownership that the company gives, to all of us and shows us that what we do is recognized, shows in the work that we do, and how we treat our customers. And I believe that brings us to the last slide. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in. I think we can look at the questions in the chat.
Yes, Matt, you covered a lot of great territory from after you signed the contract all the way to getting that electric bill, getting that big kapow for electric bill. So we have a number of questions that have kind of streamed in during your talk here. I'm just going to kind of go with them in order. First one is, my house loses power from the utility. Will the solar power energize my house?
Great question. We try to talk about this from the very beginning during the sales process. It does not. The only way that the solar on your roof will power your house during an outage is if you have a battery backup system. So the grid goes down, the solar goes down, unless you have that battery.
Great. You talked a lot about the design of the home. do you edit the plan if needed based on the results of the visit? So the question is, you did the design on the computer, you talked about the tech on site. Are there any adjustments made to the array design?
Absolutely. And just what we saw here from what the project developer proposed to what made it on the plan set, the configuration of the array changed a little bit. And then sometimes that it could change because the customer said, we changed our mind. We do not want the solar on that roof plane, in which case we would alter the plans. So yes, we change the plans until they're correct.
Good. Do you install protection against squirrels and birds?
Good question. We do. This comes directly from our sales manager, who had a lot of squirrel damage on his array that was installed before he started working for us, that a different company installed. It's called Critter Guard. It's a wire mesh that goes around the perimeter of your array to keep squirrels and birds, any other kind of critters that should not be under there, keeps them from getting underneath there and doing damage to the wiring.
And I also wanted to mention, I mentioned our YouTube page. We have a really great video, 2-minute video on Critter Guard, the name of the product that helps protect against squirrels and birds. And it shows a little bit of how we install the process there. So if you're really interested we can send that video out to you on Critter Guard. If trees are in the area, will you just move the panels to make up for the power offset that I need?
That really depends on your site. Some people have multiple roof planes that are viable. So that is something that often comes out of that technical on-site, where the original location that was proposed, our tech realizes that there's actually a better place. So yes, we will move the system, and then we of course get your permission to do that. But yes, we definitely we're very conscious of shade because it affects your production.
I want to go back to that Critter Guard question in terms of protecting against squirrels and birds. Can you add that on later to your system, or does it have to kind of be all together, the Critter Guard? You
can. So you talked about our service department earlier, and that's something that our service department would go back out. And we have had customers who originally said, "Oh, squirrels never get up there," and then sure enough, they see a squirrel sniffing around and starting to nest under the array. So yes, you can add that later, and I'll just add that I think that speaks to us as a company thinking about the longevity of your system. That we want to keep these critters from getting under there and damaging your system.
And related to that question, Matt, if I have a system installed in my house, can I add on other things later, like battery storage or an EV charger or a span panel, or do I have to get it all at once?
Absolutely. So we typically say solar can be phase 1, a battery can be phase 2, that smart panel can be phase 2 along with the batteries, an EV charger could be added as phase 2 with the battery. So yeah, we have customers, repeat customers, to have us install upgrades, to accompany the solar that we installed.
Great. Next question goes to the monitoring slides that you showed, Matt. If I see a panel on my portal that looks like it's not producing as much as its neighbor panel, when should I call?
So you could call immediately. That call would go directly to our service intake department, and they'll walk you through that process. Sometimes there's something we can do remotely, and if that doesn't work, then we would send a technician out to further investigate what's going on there. But that is the nice feature of the system that I showed, that you actually do get you get that monitor, that panel by panel visibility.
Got it. And Matt, you talked about other service question. Do panels need to be cleaned?
This is an interesting question. It depends on who you talk to. I think they do. The frequency that they should be cleaned really depends on your site. So we do we install on a lot of farms, these ground mounts that are, right next to a field that's going to be tilled and harvested. And those are obviously going to get, more particulate on the array, than other sites. But pollen can collect. So the cleaner they are, the better they're going to produce. But we all have busy lives. We can't constantly be cleaning our solar array. And even if there is some particulate on there, it still produces very well.
Got it. Now that water, rain kind of clears off the panel, but how does hail affect the panel?
So all of these, all solar modules, solar panels have a rating. All different kinds of wind uplift ratings and and hail ratings. So the modules that we install are rated. The best way I can describe it is a ball of hail a little smaller than your fist is what they're rated to actually take. So we've seen people's roofs take more damage during a big hailstorm than their solar array.
Neat. Matt, you talked about our workmanship warranty and our production warranty, but what about the product warranties? Are there anything that rides along with the actual products we install?
Yes. So all the modules we install have a 25-year guarantee. These microinverters, these N-phase microinverters that we showed in this presentation have the same 25-year guarantee. And then other style of inverters have different warranties, but you can always buy an extended warranty.
Great. Oh, Matt, yeah, you did a great job. It's like a job interview answering all these questions here.
Am I hired?
Thank you very much. I'm going in the chat. I put down in the chat, if you're interested in starting your solar journey, there's a link to kind of get signed up for a solar proposal for your house. And also Matt talked about the zero bill. The zero bill. So there's also information in the chat about net metering and how that works and how the exchange of credits can help reduce your bill there. So information on starting your solar journeys in the chat, in addition to how to read your electricity bill here. Matt, I don't know if we have any more questions for you, so it definitely answered all the questions tonight. Thank you very much. I'll wait a minute or two if anybody has any additional questions here. Matt, you seem like you enjoy your job. How's it been going as a project developer while we're waiting for any questions?
It's great. I love it. I've always liked talking about solar, even when it wasn't necessarily my job description. Now that is my job description, and so I love it. It's very enjoyable.
Well, that's great. Well, again, in the chat, we have the links to, if you're looking to get a solar proposal from Straight Up Solar, go to straightupsolar.com, request a quote, tag this webinar. With that, I'm Eric Schneider, Director of Business Development and Marketing. I want to thank you all for joining the webinar. Thank Matt Knobbe, our esteemed project developer and man with multiple solar experiences under his belt, for leading this webinar. We will be sending out a link to this video if you registered for it, and it'll also be posted on our YouTube site, so you can sit back and watch it anytime you want. Matt's contact information is on the slide here. Feel free to give Matt a call or email with any questions that we didn't answer tonight, or just solar questions in general. Matt's a wealth of knowledge here. So with that, we're going to end the webinar, and thank you all for coming tonight, and have a great sunny evening tonight.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Eric.